Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
We are Love to Hate, where we help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Ultimatch by Fireside Games.
Ultimatch is a card game, a cooperative card game for 1 to 5 players. And with this game, you're going to have a deck of cards that are going to be of different colors and different numbers. You're going to have the primary colors, red, blue, yellow, and then you're going to have secondary colors, green, orange, and purple. And with this game, it's very simple. You're going to form a pyramid, and the pyramid is going to be so many rows depending upon how many players you have in the game. More players, you're going to have more rows, and the bottom row of cards are going to be revealed. All the other cards are going to be face down. Players are going to have a hand of cards, and whatever cards are left over are going to form a draw deck. Now what you're going to be doing in this game is you're going to be using the cards in your hand, trying to make a match with the other players at the table. They're going to offer you a card to trade with you. You're not going to know what that card is, but you're allowed to make one trade. And hopefully you're getting a card that is able to help you make a really good match, or an Ultimatch in this game, which is where you match both the color and the value on the cards that you are playing on top of in the pyramid. You at least want to match one of those, either the color or the number. And you can also make an addition or subtraction in the match as well. What I mean by that is you can play 2 cards that when you combine the numbers, you add them together, it equals the number that you're playing on top of. Or if you subtract the 2 numbers, it equals the number you're playing on top of. You can also combine colors in this game. So if you combine 2 primary colors to form a secondary color, you can match those colors as well. So there's a lot of ways to make matches in this game. And ultimately, when you make a match, you remove that card from the pyramid. If there are no more cards on top of a face down card in the pyramid, you flip it over to reveal what it is, and then it's the next player's turn. And the goal in this game is to remove all the cards in the pyramid before you run out of cards, or before everybody has to pass because you have no valid move left on your turn. In that case, everybody loses. So that's the idea behind this game. Now the solo game is a little bit different. We're primarily focusing on the cooperative multiplayer game in this video. So Sam, what did you think about Ultimatch?
I liked it. I think it took us, we played it 3 or 4 times.
In one setting.
In one setting.
Back to back to back,
and
yeah.
I think it took us one full setting to figure out how best to communicate and make it cooperative, because at first you just feel like you're on your own trying to figure out, do my cards match? Because you can talk, but you can't say what cards you're giving, what cards you have.
Right.
So you're limited, and I think it took a full round to kind of figure out how is this going to work. But then after that, we figured it out a little bit better, and we ended up beating it one time.
It's a tricky game.
Yeah.
It is a deceivingly tricky game, because you will think that the game is too easy all the way up until like maybe the last 3 turns. And maybe even the last.
And that's when
turn.
you start to figure things out, and you're like, oh,
I
this is
see where we messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because really the idea of this game is you want to conserve your cards as best you can. You don't want to be just wasting cards, because you're going to run out of cards before the pyramid runs out. And then you have to be able to make Ultimatches at some point along the way and draw new cards, because you just won't have enough cards to be able to get through the pyramid. So you got to find those Ultimatch matches whenever you can, and you got to work together in order to make that happen. Otherwise, like you can sort of feel like, I'll just keep doing my own thing.
Yeah.
You won't win that way. So that's a really interesting thing. Talk about the fun factor with it, because just because a game's tricky, just because the last few turns are interesting, is it a fun game?
Yeah, it was fun. I think I think all of us had in our head kind of like an Uno type game, but the game does stand on its own. And I think it's nice to have a game that can be played very quickly. It's easy to understand. We played with 2 of our friends, and we had kids running around, and we were able to get through games pretty quickly, which is nice.
Now, I will say one thing about this game that may be a pro, maybe a con, depending on who you are and what type of player you are. what I just said a second ago about how it's really like the last 3, maybe 4 turns that the game gets really interesting.
Yeah.
And prior to that, it's kind of just like, here's a match.
Yeah.
Here's a card.
Yeah.
Here's a match. Here's a card. And it just sort of feels like
it feel very competitive is really not the word because it's cooperative.
Compelling,
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. Because it sort of just feels like you're playing cards.
Yeah.
You're just building up till you get to that last point in the game. But that necessarily isn't a con in my opinion, because this is the kind of game that's just light. It is 20 minutes, if even that, and it's just a light-hearted cooperative game. It's not super stressful, and so because it's laid back and because it's really chill kind of experience, it doesn't need to be that super intense, super complex, or heavy thinking kind of game. It's just really kind of playing these cards, getting to the end. Now, if that's something that dissuades you from playing this kind of game, just know that that's kind of what you get with this game. So, but I agree with Sam. I think it does stand on its own, and I think it provides enough excitement right there at the end for it to be a pretty interesting game.
Yeah.
So, all in all, one that you would recommend playing with non-gamers?
Yeah, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think it is it's a lighthearted game. Says it is ages 10 and up. I bet you could probably even go younger than that, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So it's a true family game, cooperative, great little card game here, and it's really small, and you can take it just about anywhere. So, the game is Ultimatch. It is from Fireside Games. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this one.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.